All right, let's dive in. Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to take this ancient idea of Buddhahood and, well, we're going to treat it like a piece of software, like a complex, cosmic operating system that we can actually break down and understand.
So our analysis kicks off with a pretty wild idea. It asks us to, just for a moment, forget about the statues, forget about the rituals. Instead, picture a Buddha as a system. Yeah, a system. One that's built for awakening, and it runs on three core functions: infinite giving, infinite vows, and infinite propagation. So we're not talking about a god or even a specific person here. We're talking about a process, something that can be programmed and even replicated.
And that's the big question, right? If it's an operating system, then what's the source code? What are the core components that make it tick? So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to deconstruct this whole thing, pull it apart piece by piece, and see exactly how it works.
Okay, so every good OS needs a powerful core engine, right? The thing that drives everything else. Well, the Buddha OS is no different. And its engine, it's this idea of ultimate or infinite giving. But trust me, as you're about to see, this goes way beyond just dropping some cash in a donation box.
I mean, the scale of this is it's staggering. We're not talking about just giving away your stuff. We're talking about the willingness to give up your country, your family, even your own body and your life. The original texts literally talk about giving away your eyes, your flesh, everything. It's a total, absolute letting go of every single attachment.
And you can see how this works in stages. At the beginner level, giving is basically a transaction. You give money, you get something back, even if it's just feeling good about yourself. Then you move to the intermediate level, where it's more of an investment, your time, your energy. But then you get to the ultimate level. And this is where the game completely changes. It's not about what you're giving anymore. It's all about embodying this state of no self. But here's the absolute key, and you've got to get this. The system isn't actually running on these shocking physical acts. Those stories, they're just illustrations. They're pointing to the real engine, which is something internal. It's a very specific and pretty radical state of mind.
And this is the software that's running under the hood. Giving without discrimination? That means you don't get to pick and choose who's worthy. Giving without regret? That means there's no little voice in your head wishing you'd kept it for yourself. And giving without anger? Even if the person you're helping turns around and hurts you, that means you've completely unplugged from your ego's self-defense mode. That is the real power source.
Okay, but a system this powerful, it's not meant to just run on one isolated computer. No way. It's designed to create a network. And check out this quote from the source material. It's pretty fascinating. It suggests that a Buddha's journey isn't some lonely climb up a mountain. Not at all. It's about inspiring other people who then go on to reach that same state themselves, becoming like nodes in this huge interconnected network. What this creates is a kind of viral loop. It's an exponential growth model for awakening. You can think of this Buddhi network as a distributed system where every machine that successfully runs the Buddha OS helps install it on new machines, and that just makes the whole network stronger and more powerful.
So the takeaway here is actually pretty profound. The whole system is built for mutual success. Your awakening helps my awakening, and mine helps yours. It totally flips the script from this competitive, I'm going to get enlightened first kind of goal to one that's totally collaborative and systemic.
All right, so we've got the core engine and we've got the network. But what does the output actually look like? What's the user interface on this thing? This is where we start running into all those stories about so-called supernatural powers. But we're going to look at them through a modern lens.
Now this is one of my favorite analogies from the source material. You've probably heard the classic idea, a Buddhist speaks with one single voice, but every single being hears the lesson in a way that's perfect for them. Well, think about a big AI model today. You give it one prompt, just one, but based on all its data, it can spit out 1,000 different customized answers. It's the exact same idea, a single universal broadcast that gets decoded uniquely by every receiver.
And what about that wild idea of a Buddha's body holding entire universes? Instead of getting hung up on a physical body, the source says think of it more like a consciousness field, a state of awareness that is just so vast, so open that it has no boundaries. It's not about physical volume. It's about having infinite mental and spiritual bandwidth.
Okay, I know this has all been super high level, very conceptual, but what's amazing is that the source material also gives us a really practical, step-by-step guide for how anyone, you, me, anyone, can start to install this OS in their own life.
So let's start at the beginner level. This is all about small, daily actions. And look, the key here isn't how much you give, it's the mindset you have while you're giving it. Just try it. Give something without waiting for a thank you. Give to someone without deciding if they deserve it. Give without doing that little mental math of what it's costing you. Just give.
Okay, from there, we level up to mind training. Now, as you practice giving, you start to turn your focus inward. You're basically starting to debug your own mental code. You ask yourself, is there an I in here that's feeling proud of this? Is there some hidden part of me expecting something back? Do I feel even a tiny bit of reluctance? The goal here is to slowly, piece by piece, dismantle the very idea of the giver.
And then there's the advanced level. This is where we get into what the source calls the vow system. Think of this like programming your own destiny. You set a huge, positive, Buddha-level goal for yourself. Something like, how many people will I help? Or what kind of system for good will I build? And then you just consistently align every single action you take with fulfilling that vow. It literally makes your intention the driving force of your entire life.
All right, before we wrap this up, we have got to talk about one last thing. And this is probably the most critical point of all. Seriously, this is the part that keeps the whole system from being completely misunderstood, and maybe even becoming dangerous. So after hearing all these intense stories about giving away flesh and bone, the obvious question comes up. Are you supposed to go out and do extreme self-harming things? The source material could not be more clear on this.
The answer is a hard no. Absolutely not. The real lesson is about what's happening inside, the mental states underneath it all. The whole point is to develop the mind of no self, no attachment, no regret, and to be driven by a great vow. These are the internal qualities that matter. That's the real work.
And on the flip side, here's what you should not be doing. Performing extreme acts just for the sake of it. Harming your body, or trying to blindly copy the literal details from these stories. If you do that, you've missed the entire point. It's like confusing the instruction manual for the actual software.
And this really is the bottom line, the core insight of this whole deconstruction. A Buddha doesn't become a Buddha by doing extreme things to their body. They become a Buddha by realizing there's no separate self to protect in the first place. That is the end game. That's the final state this whole operating system is trying to help you achieve.
So let's just end with this thought. If our minds really are like operating systems, running on all this code we've picked up over the years, well, this ancient blueprint offers a pretty radical alternative. It's not about belief, it's all about process. So the real question for you is, what part of your own operating system, what small line of code, could you start to rewrite today?